All right, traders, so watch this video for Wednesday, February 13th. Nice gap up in the spine, closed pretty strong right at the 200-day. Hasn't been there since, I don't know, second day of December, something like that. I had a strange day. If you weren't in chat today, I had a strange day. I ended up green, had a nice morning. Then a stupid afternoon boredom trade took me to barely green, and then I made a little bit on a late PYX trade. But overall, I had a couple. If you weren't in chat, I guess it was amusing. I had an order in PYX that I put above the ask, and it sat there for 15 or 20 seconds. I don't usually complain about TradeStation. It was a limit order that I was offering out, and I'll show you the chart later in this video, but it just didn't fill. The order just sat there, and my offer was to buy it above the ask, and it just sat there. And it was only 1,500 shares. I wasn't trying to take a huge, and then, so I had to cancel the order because I thought it was weird, and then it ended up basically doing what I wanted it to do without me. Anyway, so here's what I'm watching tomorrow. EA, we talked about this on this day right here that I'm hovering over. My son told me about Apex Legends, and boy, was he right. Look at that move since. We got a couple red days, just days that it closed below its open, yesterday and today. And so, you know, it's extended. And this thing was like 70-something dollars just 4 or 5 sessions ago. But if it can trade in a narrow range, you guys know how I like to play something like this. If it can trade in a narrow range and then break out of that range in the afternoon, I will certainly try a trade in this one. All right. AMRS. Couple red days down into the 8-day. Didn't have a trade in it today, but I think it's worth watching for a bounce tomorrow. QTT, big move today, so we don't want to become chasers tomorrow, but if you look at 5-minute candles, a pretty nice afternoon breakout. And just looking at a chat room search for the symbol QTT, I see Mark RM and Kevin P were both all over this before it broke 13 here, right? Just kind of flagging, and then it, so anyone could have had it. I actually saw their posts and was going to take this through 13, and I'd had that weird order not go through, and I'd already kind of given back some morning gains on a boredom trade. So it was feeling like one of those days, and I always try to teach people, monitor yourself. If you feel yourself slipping into the abyss where you're going to start trying stuff just to make a trade, you know, catch yourself and let that kind of trigger another mechanism in your brain that says, you know what, slow your roll. Tomorrow's another day. And I was really starting to feel like I was going to go turn my day red and have a red day because nothing was, you know, orders weren't filling. And then I thought about, you know, chasing. And then I saw this 13 break. I saw the posts about it, and I didn't take it through 13. And then it flagged. And I even posted, if you weren't in chat, I even posted this flag in chat. And then I watched it do that. And then I started feeling myself getting FOMO. So I just kind of took it easy. I took one trade late in the day on PYX. But overall, I was, you know, it's really, really important to monitor yourself. And I was catching myself, literally thought, Mike, you're going to turn your day red if you keep jacking around. So anyway, it's nice to see several members in chat, you know, finding these. I didn't have QTT on watch. Mark RM, Kevin P were all over it. All right. Anyway, it goes on watch tomorrow, but it's pretty extended, so keep that in mind. But sometimes, after a stock makes a big move, sometimes the next day you get another big move. So if that happens, hopefully we'll get a low risk setup to get us in. GSUM, it's worth noting that this big volume spike here, still only 1 million shares. So that tells you right there it's a thin stock. But it closed fairly strong, so I do want to watch it tomorrow. PYX, and I'll show you what I was talking about earlier. Excuse me. PYX, Wayne called this over 2250. You know me. You know I didn't really want to take this after it had done this and right back up. I kind of wanted a little sideways action first, and it kind of gave that, right? You can't really see it there, but look what happens when I switch to twos. Let me try to figure out. Okay, right there. Right there. So there's where it came up and almost hit 2250, 2247. The earlier high was 2248. You can kind of picture this little cup and handle right here. It's an intraday basis, but I loved this. We're getting into the final hour, getting close to the final hour, and I'm thinking if PYX can you know, kind of break the high of day again here, break this little cup and handle, it could squeeze into the close because it's going to look pretty impressive on the daily with a strong close, right? So anyway, It looked like this. It went down and started to come back up, and the bids started to come into like the high 2230s. The ask was 2245 or something like that. So I threw out an order. Let me see if I can find it. All right, so there it is. I'm kind of zoomed in. And these spaces here would show my fill if it got filled. You're out just means I canceled it. But we did a little test, and the time that I put this out, it didn't break 2250. It didn't break out until like 30 seconds after this. So I put my order out. It's the damn wrong order. This was from the morning. This is another one that didn't get filled. I thought crud. I thought I had copied it. No, I had another order that was a partial fill. All right, my apologies. I didn't capture it. All right. Anyway, we determined, and I put it in the chat room. I showed you the order. I had a limit of 2250, and it was really right about here. Maybe a minute later, I don't know. And it had started to come up, and the bids were kind of stacking up. Anyway, long story short, it just sat there. And so I got nervous. I thought, what the heck? Is this thing getting ready to tank, and they're going to fill me much lower? Or is it going to fill me and then tank? So I just pulled it, right? A limit order above the ask is the same as a market order. Either one of them should just fill immediately. And I've actually had market orders in the past just sit there, too. It's a bad feeling. I've told TradeStation before, you shouldn't be able to cancel a market order, right? Because it should fill immediately. And I'm not complaining because usually this doesn't happen with TradeStation, but it absolutely did today. And then it did this, and it did this, and this, and this. And, I kept typing into chat. I'm so glad I didn't get my order filled because I would have had a whole bunch of profits. So they really saved me from that. Anyway, so that kind of flustered me, and I just was aggravated going into the rest of the day. So I had a green day, but certainly nothing to brag about. It closed fairly strong, and so I want to watch it tomorrow. All right, that was way too much. I said way too much about that for what little lessons came out of it. All right, so PYX EOLS. This thing is, gapped up but had a red day, then a big green day, then a red day, then a green day, then a red day, then a green day, then a red day. Now it looks like it's kind of rolling over, but until this stops putting in this pattern, I'm going to watch it again tomorrow and see, because it has been a great whole number inflection point trader. I'd certainly like to see it come back down to the buy zone over the next couple of days, and then it'll probably be my number one watch, but I'm already going to watch it tomorrow and see if it gives maybe one of our whole number inflection point setups, right? EKSO had good news back here, and then it took about a couple weeks, and now it's back up to those highs. May continue tomorrow. REFR. This volume spike, only 392,000 shares, but it caught my attention today on the volume scanner, and I couldn't help but notice that it hit 3 back here and hit 3 again today. I'm sorry, 299 today. So over 3, I think that's worth watching tomorrow. NIO held the 20-day and then kind of put in a little bit of a hammer. Closed green. That one's on long watch tomorrow. You kind of have a cup and handle here, and here's the handle part, right? It did a nice breakout through 8, which basically you could argue is a failed breakout, but it did find support at the 20-day. It may be ready to continue tomorrow. I don't love that one. Riot, I actually like this one, especially I'm going to keep Bitcoin on a chart. And Riot had a nice spike the other day that topped out to 245. Quiet inside day today, or yesterday, and then today closing at about its highs. This is a pretty clean setup for a possible breakout. GBTC is over the counter, but I kind of use it on an intraday basis to gauge Bitcoin. I may actually have a live Bitcoin chart up tomorrow if I'm considering trading Riot. ALRN, nice spike back here, which was about 5 sessions ago, to 235, and then today put in a lower high at 230 on nice volume. See if we get a red to green or something like that in that one. And then lastly, INSY. I kind of like this. It's had this spike. I think it's considered a pot stock. So if they run, this is one to watch. 509 back here, then a little bit of a lower high. 491, nice volume on this 2-day run, and now it's put in a kind of a lower high at 478. This one just might break out over this pattern. So I went and checked the news to see if it was a pot stock, and here's the headline, right? See if it had a reason to run. It says INSY, insist, but INSY is the symbol. Executive gave doctor lap dance while promoting drug, witness says. So once I read that headline, I said to myself, yeah, I'm going to watch that one tomorrow. That's a great headline. All right. Anyway, I'm done babbling. We'll see y'all in chat tomorrow. We'll add some gappers to this list. Hopefully, catch a few nice trades tomorrow. Have a great night.